Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is an overview of how to get PvP gear in Legion. We've got a completely new system for gearing up in PvP this expansion, and it works quite a bit differently than what we're used to. I'm going to talk about how you get your gear, how gear affects your power in PvP, and the path that you want to take to get started. So, where are the PvP vendors in Legion? You've been looking around Dalaran and the Underbelly, and you just can't find them. That's because they're not there. There are no PvP vendors in Legion. Instead of grinding Honor and Conquest to buy sets off a vendor, we're relying on an RNG drip feed of drops from strongboxes and world quests for our PvP gear. The next big question is, do I need PvP gear to PvP? The answer is, kinda. For the first time, WoW has done away with the differences between PvE and PvP gear. There's no resilience, there's no PvP power, and there's no item level shifting. Instead, to balance the playing field, stats are leveled out when you enter instanced PvP. When you zone into a battleground or arena, your stats are pulled from a preset template for your spec. Your trinkets won't work, your artifact relic effects are disabled, and the stats in your gear won't matter. You could have all agility gear and then zone into a BG as a resto druid, and you'll have similar int as the other healers. However, this doesn't mean that you can just run around naked. Your item level will still influence your character's power, just not as much. That base stat template you get in PvP normalizes you up to item level 800. As the gear that you wear progresses past 800, you'll get a small percentage increase in player power. Every 10 item levels you gain makes you 1% stronger, up to a maximum of 10% at item level 900. On that note, feel free to wear weird trinkets or artifact relics that buff bad traits, because all that matters is item level. This means that if you also do heroic or mythic rating on your PvP toon, then you probably won't need PvP gear at all. So how do you actually get PvP gear? For the most part, you're going to be gearing up through a delightful combination of world quests and strongboxes. At low honor levels, Vindictive Combatant's gear will sometimes come up as a reward for doing PvP world quests. It'll also occasionally drop from the strongboxes you get from doing BGs and skirms. You'll notice that when you first start doing this, that the gear you get is kinda garbage. The item level of the world quest PvP gear is influenced by your honor level. At low honor levels, most PvP world quests will award 805 plus gear. As you gain honor levels, you have a higher chance to see those same world quests rewarding 840 plus gear. If you prestige, the reward system will still consider you honor level 50, so don't worry about getting 805s again if you do decide to prestige. Unfortunately, your honor level does not appear to affect the item level of gear gained from battleground strongboxes. PvP gear from any source can also Warforge and Titanforge, just like loot from dungeons and raids. Getting the best PvP gear is going to be a lot of luck. Note that if you want the Vindictive Combatant gear for Transmog, then you need to be both lucky and careful. Eventually, your honor level will lock you out of getting it from world quests, and there's no guaranteed way to get a piece that you want. Kinda sucks. You can also get gear from rated PvP. As per the hotfixes that went in September 27th, players will now receive a bonus piece of gear based on their best rating from the previous week for each rated bracket. This means that you can get 3 pieces of gear each week from rated by doing 2s, 3s, and rated battlegrounds. The base item level of that gear starts at 840 and goes up depending on your rating in that bracket. So you're a fresh level 110 looking to get set up for PvP. What's first? Because there's no difference between PvE and PvP gear, there's no reason why you can't get yourself a bit of gear in dungeons to get started. Gear from ordinary world quests, dungeons, and raids will all get your item level up just as well, and it's a bit easier to get right out of the gate. If you can stomach doing some PvE, start with that. If you're like me and can't handle the prospect of doing dungeons on a PvP character, skip straight ahead to honor grinding. You're trying to get to honor level 50 as soon as you can. Do PvP world quests whenever they're up, and queue for battlegrounds until the cows come home. As you unlock your talents and progress in honor levels, you'll start getting better gear from world quests. Once you have enough honor talents to be comfortable and you're feeling brave, try for at least 1 game weekly in each PvP bracket. As long as you are active in that bracket each week, you'll get something. Then it's time to practice, be the best that you can be, and grind up your rating to improve the gear that you get. Of course, the longer you keep at it, the more likely you are to Titanforge something really good, so don't give up. Marks of Honor drop from strongboxes, and those are for old transmog gear. They're account bound, so you can mail them to alt if you'd rather have an old PvP set on a different character. There's been a lot of cool PvP gear over the years, so look up what you can get and play dress up. These things don't drop nearly often enough for my taste, so I'll be picking out new Mog really carefully. And that's the deal with PvP gear in Legion. They've somehow managed to make this the most confusing and RNG-riddled system yet, but with the way the stat template works, it doesn't matter too much. Thanks for watching! Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.